Welcome to the Warp. Today I would like to talk about meta-aliens. These are aliens that let you somehow gain or control other aliens, gaining access to their power in some way. I like meta-aliens a lot because I think it gives you a variety of play experiences within a single game. With so many aliens in Cosmic Encounter, it's nice to be able to tinker with more than one at a time. So far there are half a dozen aliens in the Fantasy Flight version of Cosmic Encounter. I hope that more will make an appearance. Let's take a look at what we have so far. Changeling is from Cosmic Conflict. This one is slightly revised from the original in a good way. The way it works, when you have Changeling as a main player, you can use your power to draw a card and that's it. Or you can give the Changeling alien to your opponent and take their alien. You're now this new alien, possibly for the rest of the game, but more likely until the next time you face Changeling, whoever has it at that point. It jumps around, but the new tweak of making it optional and letting you draw a card instead means you can be very selective about when you strike and take an alien that improves your likelihood of winning the game. Some people find it too chaotic, but I defy those naysayers. This is a fun alien to have in the game, and multiple players will likely have to, or rather, get to use it. Chrysalis is next from Cosmic Alliance. This one is tricky because for much of the game you'll pretty much have no alien power. What you do with Chrysalis is start the game with 8 tokens that you use to count down, removing one every encounter. That means you have to do your best to stay in the game and make sure someone else doesn't win for 8 encounters. Then you get to really use Chrysalis. You draw 10 flares for aliens not in the game and choose one to become from that point on. You also get to put its flare in your hand immediately, so you have your own super. And this is what really makes Chrysalis worth playing. Much of the time you'll be able to find at least one alien out of that 10 that has a decent chance of performing well in the current mix of aliens for that game. And you'll also have a little more of an edge using your super flare. I can appreciate why some players don't like Chrysalis because you're at a clear disadvantage for most of the game, maybe even the whole game. Penniform is an old Mayfair alien that was part of Cosmic Dominion. At the start of the game, you draw 5 more aliens and you assign them in order that you'll use them based on the number of foreign colonies that you have. So with 0 colonies, you'll be in the first stage of its life stage. When you gain your first foreign colony, you'll move to the second stage. Part of the fun and challenge with Penniform is deciding which alien to be at which stage. What's an alien that's good early on? Which one helps you get that 5th colony? Having 5 different aliens to use in one game is a blast, and sometimes when we play Cosmic Encounter, we play as if everyone is Penniform and just use 5 aliens in an order that we determine at the start of the game. Plant is an oldie but a goodie, or a terrific headache, depending on whom you ask. In this edition, it was part of Cosmic Incursion. And when you have colonies in another player's system, you get to take over their alien power using it while they cannot use it. The reason it's a headache is because of the questions that are raised for a lot of the aliens in terms of effects and timing and when can I do this and whatnot. Still, all in all, it's a really powerful alien and it's loads of fun to play. If you don't mind the occasional discussion or debate about effects and timing, it's one of the best meta aliens to have. Reincarnator is in the base set, so it's the first meta-alien for the Fantasy Flight edition. Whenever you lose an encounter as a main player, you reincarnate as an alien not part of the game, drawing one at random. You get to keep using this new alien until you lose again as a main player. On the plus side, you're seeing a few extra aliens in a game, and if you get one that is especially effective, you get to hold on to it. On the downside, you'll sometimes draw one that is overmatched by the other aliens in the game, or doesn't really have a chance to shine before you have to reincarnate again. But I've always loved it and will easily choose it over most other aliens. Getting something for losing is not high on my list of alien effects, but I do like that once in a while I'll get a really good alien at a critical time in the game. Now we have Swindler from Cosmic Storm. This one is considered pretty controversial because it has a big-time screw-you factor as part of its effect. At the start of the game, you assign tokens to each player, most of which are decoys, but one is a mark. Later in the game, you will reveal the mark and then take over that player's alien power and their hand and their seat and their ships and their color and everything. They become the Swindler, but not the same version you were. The sheet has a lower section that explains how their new alien power works. At the start of each other player's turn, they will get a foreign colony, which is a pretty nice consolation prize for having your original identity and goods stolen from you. Here's why I like the Swindler. You have to really think about the actual metagame itself, thinking about who you believe will get closest to winning fastest, and maybe assign them the mark at the beginning of the game. Or maybe that person is just too obvious a choice, and you should choose someone else in an effort to outsmart everyone. Then when you do make the switch, you had better be really close to winning, because the mark is going to very quickly get back in the game otherwise. It adds a new crazy layer to the game, which I find to be intrinsically cosmic. Critics of Swindler are very concerned about the mark not having a fun game experience with Swindler involved, but my experience has been that it's been pretty hilarious in action for everyone. Now I'd like to also take a moment to talk about Pretender, which is technically not a meta-alien, but it is very similar to Swindler. Pretender is part of Cosmic Eons, and on its turn, after destiny is determined, it gets to switch seats with another player. Like Swindler, you get their player color and ships and their seat and their hand, but what you don't get is their alien power. And you continue on as Pretender, getting to do this again when your next turn comes up. A subtle difference, but important. Also, unlike Swindler, there's no special effect for having your seat stolen by Pretender. After your turn, play continues from you based on your new seat, so you can really bedevil players whose turn was supposed to be after you. Some folks hate Pretender as much as Swindler because it's too mean. I like them both and I find them different enough from each other. It really forces players to stay sharp and pay attention to who's doing well and where Pretender is likely to strike. You tend to use up good cards early so that if you do get swapped out, you're leaving Pretender with little of use. Also, throughout the game, you can maybe be a little more reckless with ship commitments, potentially making yourself less attractive to Pretender, or making Pretender easier to manage when it does switch. So that's where we have it with meta-aliens in Cosmic Encounter with the Fantasy Flight Edition. If you count Pretender, which you really shouldn't, then there's one in every expansion and one in the base game. On the Warp, there are currently 90 aliens or so that have the meta tag, so there are other ideas out there, which some of them are, I think, good enough to make their way into a publication, which I hope to see. And we're still waiting to see Insect, which is a classic meta alien, show up in some form or another. So, keeping my fingers crossed and hoping to see some more meta aliens in the future, and encourage you to try them out and see what you think of those as well. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.